जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन ब्रजजनरंजन। यशोदा नंदन ब्रजजनरंजन। यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तरस्य श्रीमद् His Divine Grace Srila Bhai Charana Arvind Bhakti Vedanta Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Bibita Sansthabhaka Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki, Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Acharya Ashtotraksi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki, प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की, श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड श्री गिरि गोवर्धन की, ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की, पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र श्री जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की, नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की, गंगा माई जमुना माई की, भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की, कलियुग पावन हरिनाम संकीर्तन की, हरे कृष्ण महामंत्र की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद ट्रांसल बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम महापुराण की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, chapter entitled The Passing Away of Bhishmadeva. Text number 9. थोड़ा वॉल्यूम बढ़ाने बोलो. हरि बोल. वॉल्यूम. तान समेतान महाभागान Upalabhya Vasuttama Pujayam Asa Dharmagyo Desha Kala Vibhagavit Tan Sametan Mahabhagan Upalabhya Vasuttama Pujayamasa Dharmagyo Deshakala Vibhagavit Tan Sametan Mahabhagan Upalabhya Vasuttama Pujayamasa Dharmagyo Deshakala Vibhagavit Tan Sametan Mahabhagan Upalabhya Vasuttama Pujayamasa Dharmagyo Deshakala Vibhagavit. Ladies, Tan, all of them, Sametan, assembled together, Mahabhagan, all greatly powerful, Upalabhya, having received, Vasuttama, the best amongst the Vasus, Bhishmadeva, Pujayam Asa, welcomed, Dharmagya, one who knows religious principles, Desha, place, Kala, time, Vibhagavit, one who knows the adjustment of place and time. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation: Bhishmadeva was the best amongst the 8 Vasus, received and welcomed all the great and powerful rishis who were assembled there, for he knew perfectly all the religious principles according to time and place. Purport: expert religionists know perfectly well how to adjust religious principles in terms of time and place. All the great acharyas or religious preachers or reformers of the world executed their mission by adjustment of religious principles in terms of time and place. There are different climates and situations in different parts of the world, and if one has to discharge his duties to preach the message of the Lord, he must be expert in adjusting things in terms of the time and place. And therefore, he could receive and welcome all the powerful sages assembled there at his deathbed from all parts of the universe. He was certainly unable at that time to welcome and receive them physically because he was neither at his home nor in a normal healthy condition. But he was quite fit by the activities of his sound mind, and therefore he could utter sweet words with hearty expressions, and all of them were well received. One can perform one's duty by physical work, by mind, and by words. And he knew well how to utilize them in the proper place, and therefore there was no difficulty for him to receive them, although physically unfit. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki. So, a very important principle is being brought out here for leadership, the ability to make decisions as per time, place, circumstance. So we will discuss three elements within this. The first is chastity or purity. When we make any decisions as per time, place, and circumstance, the way Bhishmadeva is doing, there should be no compromise on the philosophical conclusions, and one may adjust the methods. One may adjust the methods without affecting the mission or the purpose. So the mission remains the same, the methods may vary. So that's the principle of purity or chastity. In the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, when he is in the forest, he meets Narad Muni, and Narad Muni advises him, Gunadhikam mudam lipset anukrosham gunadamat. My dear Dhruva, rather than being angry, you should see good in others. You should make friends with those who are equal. Maitrim samanadan viche natapair abhibhuyate. And you should be compassionate to those who are lesser privileged than you. And in this way, you will not experience the miseries of material existence. And he ultimately recommends to Dhruva Maharaj, because when Dhruva Maharaj hears this, he becomes very upset. And he says that I'm in an angry mood, and your recommendation is good for a self-controlled Brahman, not for me. And therefore my desire is to get a kingdom greater than that of my great-grandfather. So when Narad Muni hears this, Padam Tribunotkrishtam Jigishu Sadhu Vartmame. So interesting thing, Dhruv says, I want that position. I am extremely ambitious, but I want to follow a bona fide path. Sadhu Vartma means bona fide path. So when Narad Muni hears this, then considering the state of mind Dhruva was in, so Narad Muni customized and gave him the method of chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and along with the chanting of that mantra, how he could worship the deities. Mantredhanena devasya kuryat dravyamayim buddha. Along with the chanting of this mantra, various dravyas or ingredients to be used in worshipping a deity of Lord Krishna made out of the mud of Yamuna. Saparyam vividhair dravyair desha kala vibhagavit. As per time, place, and circumstance, Dhruva, being an angry and offended prince, did not have a luxury of detailed deity worship. Whatever little means he had, the Yamuna Jal, Tulasi, some fruits, with that only he could afford to worship. So that Srila Prabhupada elaborates in his commentary that that is how Narad Muni gave him the method, which was as per time, place and circumstance. So when Narad Muni, after instructing Dhruva, goes to Dhruva's father Uttanapad, his father is in anxiety and he says, "Oh, I have lost my son. It was because of my mistake." So Narad Muni then says, "Sudushkaram karma kritva lokapalairapi prabhu." Your son has done something which is impossible even for the demigods to do. Sudushkaram karma. Most difficult task he has accomplished or is on the path of accomplishing. Sudushkaram karma kritva lokapalairapi. Even the demigods cannot do it. So what is that? Srila Prabhupada says, the most difficult task in the entire creation is to please Krishna. So therefore we are all on the path of the most difficult path. Most difficult task is to please Krishna. Then he says, Aishyati achirato rajan yasho vipulayam taba. But he will return back and make all of you very proud because of his commitment to the process given by his Guru, Shripad Narad Muni. So the interesting thing is, Dhruva goes to the forest because of being offended by his stepmother, and he goes in a state of great anger. But he does not allow the distraction of anger to affect him when he is engaged in the path given by Narad Muni. So therefore, during meditation on Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya and worshipping the deities, Dhruva was not overwhelmed with anger. He controlled his mind and focused on the process and the path given. Yonta pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayat akhila shaktidhara swadhamna. And then Lord Vishnu, Prashnigarbha, manifests and places his conch on Dhruva's forehead, and immediately all of Dhruva's senses come alive. And he says, I am not trained in Sanskrit, I do not know all of these literatures, I never studied Shastra under Guru, but the power to glorify is coming by the touch of the Supreme Lord, who is enlivening everyone's senses. Anyam stahosta charana shravanatvagaadin Pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. And in this way, Dhruva Maharaj acknowledges the presence of the Supreme Lord by offering his prayers. And it is described here that because of the grace of his Guru, Narad Muni, Dhruva Maharaj attained the success so soon. Yes, he performed the process, but the most important part of the process was he followed the process loyally with purity and chastity, the way Narad Muni gave it. So that was the secret of Dhruva Maharaj attaining his success. And that's something which is very, very important. When Giriraj Maharaj in the initial years joined ISKCON, his parents, were very upset, and his parents, brought him home and brought a psychiatrist. And the psychiatrist started interrogating Giriraj Swami and asking various questions. And, Giriraj Maharaj was answering with shlokas from the Bhagavad Gita. What is your problem in life? The Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi. Do you have problems with your parents? Pitamahasya Jagata. So after half an hour, the psychiatrist got bewildered, came out and told the parents, if I spend half an hour more with the son, I will become Hare Krishna. And the psychiatrist said, your son is permanently infected. And Srila Prabhupada was very happy. Next day he quoted in the class, even psychiatrists are certified that when our devotees hear the process, they get deep impact. So the impact comes from hearing in the parampara. So therefore, the pill has the medicine. The medicine is the thing which creates the impact. The external shell may change, and therefore the capsule may come in different colors. But if the medicine is the same, the effect will be the same. And therefore, we have to maintain the mission even when the methods may get adjusted. In Ramayana, when Dashrath Maharaj declares his retirement, the whole of Ayodhya is sitting in front of him. There is a tumultuous sound, and Dashrath Maharaj asks, what was that sound? A minister steps forward and said, I will reveal why there was such a huge applause. Only if you promise me you will not punish me. Dashrath said, why should I punish you? Tell me. So the minister said, Dashrath, you have ruled over Ayodhya for 60,000 years. You made millions of decisions in those 60,000 years. What you did was great. But today the decision you have made to retire was the best decision you ever made. And that is the reason we are all celebrating. Dashrath suddenly became insecure. And he said, am I so useless that you are all celebrating my departure? The minister said, no. It is not that we are celebrating your exit. We are celebrating Lord Ram's entry, because he is filled with divine qualities. And all of his qualities are so supremely attractive. Kim chitram achyuta ashesha ashesha bandho daseshu ananya sharaneshu yadatma satam yo roche samrgai swamishwaranam Srimad Kirita Tatapidita Padapita. Uddhava in 11th canto glorifies Lord Ram as someone having such attractive qualities that being the king, being the supreme lord in front of whom 33 crore demigods are offering their helmets, that powerful personality is not embarrassed taking support of monkeys in his mission and allowing friendship with the monkeys. How simple and humble he is. And therefore, who will not take shelter of such an easily approachable and accessible leader like Lord Ram? And so, when Lord Ram is given the Vanavas, Sita Devi says, I will also come with you. Lord Ram says, Vanavas was given to me, not to you. Sita Devi says, I may be born in a royal family, but when I was young, I overheard an astrologer telling my father that in future, she will have to go on Vanavas for some time. The astrologer was speaking in private to my father and mother, but I overheard it. And so after marriage, secretly, I have packed a whole set of dress for Vanavas. So Lord Ram says, oh, that's very proactive. But still, that doesn't mean that qualifies you to go for Vanavas. The Vanavas was given only to me. I will not allow you. You stay here in the comfort of Ayodhya. The forest is too treacherous, too dangerous. You cannot survive. So then Sita Devi looks at Ram and says, okay, my dear Lord, tell me, what's the definition of Swarga, heaven, and Naraka, hell? Lord Ram says, you're asking me? I mean, he's the one who creates the whole paradigm. So he says, Swarga means you perform piety, you go to Swarga, and you do Papa, you go to Naraka. So Sita says, my dear Lord, if you don't know the answer, don't speculate. So Lord Ram becomes even more bewildered. Hey, what is this? In such a moment, she is cracking jokes. This is the Shastric definition, how she is arguing like this. So Ram says, okay, tell me, what is your definition? She says, yes, tvaya sahasa swargo niroyatvayo vina. To travel with you and to be in your association is Swarga. And therefore, if I am with you in the forest becomes Swarga. If I am in Ayodhya with royal comfort without you, that is Naraka. iti janan param pritim gaccha bhratara gacchati. Therefore, I want to come with you. And Lord Ram still does not allow her. And so Sita offers one more argument. And she says that Yadi tvam prastito adya durgam vanam adyaiva raghava. You go ahead, but before you step on any rocks and stones and thorns, I will travel ahead of you. Because you may think Sita is coming and she'll be a burden. I won't be a burden. I will assist your mission. How? By traveling in front of you and making the path smooth for you. And so the acharyas say the thorns which Sita is referring to is Ravana. So Sita is indicating that for the fulfillment of your mission, you need a bona fide reason. Because Lord Ram is gentleman personified. He will not unnecessarily attack. So therefore, he needs a reason to attack Ravana. And Sita says, I will become that reason. So I will go ahead and crush all the thorns like Ravana. So then finally, Lord Ram agrees. And Lakshman is not also wanting to stay back. So Lord Ram has to accept Lakshman also. Lakshman says, Deepti Magnim Aranyamba Yadi Ramam Pravikshati. If there is a burning forest fire, I will enter that first. And so Lord Ram says, okay, come with me. So when Lakshman goes to take blessings of his mother Sumitra, she says, Srishtastum vanavasasya svanurakta suhrijjane. You have been created for life in the forest. So generally Kshatriya doesn't serve another Kshatriya. Both Kshatriyas need their kingdom. They have Isha Bhav. A prince serving another prince is unheard of. So therefore, Sumitra is saying the constitutional position of the soul overrides all other considerations, which is to serve. So therefore, you have been created to serve. Mame vamsho jivaloke jiv bhuta sanatana. So the expansion is taking that form to demonstrate how the primary duty of the soul is to serve. And then she says, Rame pramadam ma karshit. Be careful that Ram is so bewitchingly attractive and beautiful that you should not become distracted by his beauty and enchanted by his beauty, that you don't pay attention to the demons who are lurking around to try to attack. So make sure that you are focused on Lord Ram's comfort and not enjoying your own Ram's beauty. So therefore, Lakshman thus goes along with Lord Ram also into the forest. And here we find that, the most important principle is that the jiva is supposed to serve the Supreme Lord in all circumstances, in all situations. And the acharyas, especially the Sri Vaishnava acharyas, give elaborate commentaries that this proves that soul can never be equal to the Supreme. Supreme is always most attractive, all attractive, and always the source of receiving service. And therefore Lakshmana means Lakshmano Lakshmi Sampanno Bahir Pranaiva Parasarva Prekarastascha Ramas Sapi Sharirada. Lakshman means one who is Lakshmi Sampanna, filled with the Lakshmi or the wealth of Seva to the Supreme Lord. So Lakshman represents that the most powerful need of the soul is always service, opportunity to serve. And therefore Jiva and Ishwar can never be one. Srila Prabhupada was in Amritsar and there was a Santa Sammelan. Many saintly people were there. But majority were Advaitavadi and they were all saying everything is one, everything is one. Suddenly Srila Prabhupada got up, started walking out. So Srila Prabhupada's disciple Gurudas Prabhu was there. He was bewildered. He said, Prabhupada, you are the next speaker. Where you are going? Prabhupada said, I am not inspired by hearing what they are all saying. Everything is good. I am going. He says, but Srila Prabhupada, you are the next speaker. Who will speak if you are not there? Prabhupada said, you speak. So he said, but Prabhupada, I am very young. I am not so knowledgeable. Prabhupada said, the level at which they are speaking, you have enough knowledge. So Prabhupada just left. So then when the ISKCON turn came, Gurudas Prabhu took the stage and he said, I am hearing people saying everything is one. But the question is Rasgulla, which is a sweet, same as stool on the street? When he made that point, there was a gasp in the audience. They had never heard such an example. So after the talk, the sadhus came to Prabhupada to complain, your disciple is insulting us. Prabhupada said, what happened? What did he say? They said, he is telling us eat the stool on the street. Prabhupada looked at Gurudas. Is that what you said? No, Prabhupada, I was just making a point. Everything is not one. To give that, to make that proper, I said, stool on the street is different from Rasgulla, which is a sweet. Both cannot be one. Prabhupada turned to those sadhus and said, my American disciples give very graphic examples. Don't mind that. I will take care. And then when they left, Prabhupada turned to Gurudas Prabhu and said, what was that example? Stool on the street and Rasgulla the sweet? Excellent example. So in the Prabhupada's Pranam Mantra, it is there. Nirvishesha, Shunyavadi, Paschatya, Desha, Tarine. So the civilization itself is designed to minimize the position of God. For at least 2000 years, the tallest buildings always were spiritual structures, the temples or the churches in all kinds of countries and cultures across the world. But last 100-150 years only, this whole culture began of skyscraper buildings where human beings' dwellings is higher than God's dwelling. And therefore, we are living in a civilization which is systematically minimizing the position of God. And therefore, that is what is Nirvisheshvad. To say that, what is the difference? No difference. We are also equally powerful. What is the big deal? So therefore, Lakshman, he has the choice of accepting the comfort of Ayodhya, the wealth of Ayodhya, versus going to the forest. And he accepts the wealth of Seva to Lord Ram as a priority. And when we say Seva, it means it will also have issues and challenges. So Vali is killed. After Vali is killed, Sugriva says 4 months of Chaturmas, so let me spend some time with my family. I have not spent time for a long time, so he goes. Lord Ram and Lakshmana are in Malyavanta Parvat. And every raindrop, Lord Ram sees as Sita's tears. And Sugriva is supposed to come in some time, but 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, almost 4th month is about to end, and there is no sign of Sugriva. Ram becomes very angry and anxious, and he looks at Lakshman and says, what is this? Sugriva was supposed to come with the armies and support us. Has he forgotten the mission? He has so absorbed himself in sense gratification, he has forgotten the service. And then at that time, Lord Ram, in an angry mood, he explains to Lakshman, my dear Lakshman, you go and give my message to Sugriva. Nacha sankuchita pantha ye navali hatogata samaye tishta Sugriva ma vali hatamanvagaha. Go and give this message, my dear Lakshman. And what is this message? The message you must give to Sugriva is, Lord Ram has sent this message, O Sugriva, that the road through which Vali was sent to the abode of death, that road is still open. Very stylish message. So Lakshman says, my dear Lord, if you permit me, forget the message, I'll kill him only. Lord Ram says, no, don't kill Sugriva. Just give the message and come. So he gives the message. And interestingly, Sugriva comes. And Sugriva has had some challenges. He has deviated for 3-4 months and forgotten the mission. But when he comes back, Lord Ram embraces him and again makes him the one to lead the entire army. Gives him the responsibility. So therefore, as per time, place and circumstance, even if there are mistakes made, the leader must know how to deal with the mistake in such a way that the mission is benefited and the missionary is also healed. And so, Paratmanishta Matra Veshadharan Mukunda Sevaya Hoye Samsara Taran. Lord Chaitanya takes sannyas. It is only for one purpose, Mukunda Sevaya. And he is traveling towards Vrindavan. Lord Nityananda diverts him to Shantipur. And Shri Advaita has made a big grand feast. And so Kaviraj Goswami says, people feel practicing bhakti is difficult, but Advaita Acharya is the best example of a householder. Aiche annaje Krishna ke koraye bhojan, janme janme shire dharo tahar charan. When you offer food, when you cook food, you just have to do one thing to transform your home into a temple. The intention for cooking must change. Rather than having the intention that I will cook for myself, change the intention that I will cook for Krishna. Aiche anna je Krishna ke karaye bhojan. When you do that change in the intention, Lord Chaitanya says, I become so grateful, janme janme shire dharo tahar charan. Take the dust of the feet of that householder upon my head. And so, Kaviraj Goswami says, Acharya re shraddha bhakti griha sampadhane sakala safala hoila prabhuraradhane. Advaita Acharya is hosting the recently, appointed sannyasi, Lord Chaitanya, at his house. But there is absolutely no difference in terms of the spiritual potency which is available in either sannyasa ashram or the grihastha ashram. So he says, Acharya re shraddha, faith, bhakti, devotion, griha, house, sampat, property, dhane, his wealth, sakala safala hoila. Everything became successful. Why? It was used in Prabhu Aradhana. So Advaita Acharya as a grihastha was utilizing everything to please the Lord, and Mukunda Sevaya Hoy Sansara Taran, Lord Chaitanya was using everything to please Lord Mukunda. That is the common theme. Now, Lord Chaitanya has given up everything. His previous clothes, his hair, his previous name, and his profession as a grammar teacher, property, wife, mother. But the essence of sannyas is revealed when he meets Sachimata for the first time after sannyas. So Sachimata is crying because she is seeing Lord Chaitanya after sannyas for the first time. Kandiya kohe na Sachi bachare nimai Vishwarupa samana korihani thurai. And she is sobbing and crying, and she says, my dear Nimai, please do not, become like your brother Vishwarup. What did Vishwarup do? Sannyasi hoya punanna dila darshan. After taking sannyas, he just left and never again gave any darshan. Tumitai chekaile mora hoibe maran. If you do that, I will die. So therefore, you cannot abandon me. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has technically taken sannyas, but he has not abandoned his feelings and emotions. So this is the test. How does he fulfill the desire of his mother? And Lord Chaitanya says that, my dear mother, this body is yours, and wherever you tell me, I will stay. And so, Lord Chaitanya wants to stay in Vrindavan. Sachi Mata wants Lord Chaitanya to stay in Navadvip. But Lord Chaitanya says if a sannyasi stays at his own home, he will be criticized. That criticism will be more painful to you. So they came to a compromise. And that was Jagannath Puri. And therefore, Tate e yukti bhala more manalay, Nilachale rahi, dui karya hoy. If I stay in Nilachal, both of our desires and plans will be fulfilled. So therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu demonstrated the mature way in which one should adjust situation in such a way that the principles and the mission is maintained. The methods may be adjusted as per time, place, and circumstance. So when Srila Prabhupada came to America, came from America back to India to establish ISKCON in India, so they decided to have the Cross Maidan festival. And Shyam Sundar Prabhu was coming for the first time because, he went to Prabhupada in 1969 and said, because of some, crime I have done in the past, I have to go to jail. Prabhupada immediately said, Krishna was born in jail. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu felt very encouraged that I am not being rejected. Then Prabhupada said, why are you going to jail? And Shyam Sundar Prabhu said, Srila Prabhupada, I was dealing with drugs. Prabhupada said, me too. I was running Prayag pharmacy. So Prabhupada just wanted him to feel a little comfortable emotionally. Then Prabhupada said, how many years? So he said, 3 years. Prabhupada said, don't worry, you just chant Hare Krishna, you'll be released. And he had no clue how it's going to happen. And within a few months, actually, the release order were given. And even he was bewildered. So actually speaking, he would have been inside till 72 originally. But somehow by the Lord's arrangement, he was released and he could go to London, connect with the Beatles, and then came to India and set up this entire Cross Maidan. And he was the main organizer, and he had borrowed a car from one of the life members, and he was driving to Kalbadevi market, the most crowded street in Mumbai. And first time he was driving in India. And it was a culture shock for him, because anything and everything was jumping in the way. So suddenly, one man got hit and he fell right in front of the car, and a crowd surrounded the car. Shyam Sundar Prabhu took his bead bag and started chanting, because he had heard that when such kind of road accidents happen, the mob burns the car. So then the crowd looked inside, looked at Shyam Sundar Prabhu. Then they immediately jumped on the man who was hit and started beating him. So Shyam Sundar Prabhu got bewildered. This culture shock was too much to handle. He thought, I made the mistake. Why are they beating him? Then he thought, maybe in India they begin from there. And then he was waiting. The crowd beat him up and turned back and said to Shyam Sundar Prabhu, go ahead, drive on. And he couldn't handle it. He rolled down the window and asked one Indian man who spoke English, I made the mistake. Why was that poor guy beaten up? And this man said, you are dressed as Krishna's devotee. How dare he disturb Krishna's devotee? So he realized that, oh, what a responsibility it is. People have so much faith just by seeing the externals. What an important responsibility it is to fulfill that expectation of people. And when Prabhupada used to say the Vedic culture is still present in India, he got that glimpse. And therefore, the first principle is chastity, and the second principle is humility or submission, that seek guidance from realized souls, maintain respect for the tradition, embrace the change, but honor the parampara and past acharyas while recognizing their greatness. Adjust the methods. While adjusting the methods, we should not have a negative feeling towards the parampara and the acharyas. Sometimes it is quite common when a change happens, one of the first things which people do is start criticizing the previous to establish that they are right. So therefore this is very important, and it's a very detailed principle, but it is said that only on the basis of humility and submission we can actually become empowered to implement those methods. And hence we have the example that when Ashwatthama was caught and there was like the debate, the first pastime in Bhagavatam is a conflict between Bhima and Krishna on one side, Yudhishthira and Draupadi on another side. Debate, conflict, difference of opinion. Sometimes as leaders we are caught with conflicting situations, multiple opinions, and it becomes so difficult. We sometimes feel only if Krishna was here, both parties could have consulted Krishna and resolved. Therefore Bhagavatam begins with a pastime where Krishna is directly there and debate is happening around Krishna. And so finally Krishna says, you have to come to a conclusion, and then Arjuna understands the heart. So Harer Hardam, the word comes in the Bhagavatam. He understood the heart of Krishna. And therefore there cannot be any successful change made unless we have the blessings of the parampara like that. And the third principle is, apart from humility and submission, is discrimination or vivek. And vivek means to be able to know what is to be done at what time. Vyasadhyai Ishware Hagyai Krishnena Adbhuta Karmana. So that we come to this pastime where Yudhishthira is totally bewildered. He doesn't know what to do after the battle. Even Vyasa and Krishna himself are not able to pacify. Then Krishna suggests you go to Bhishmadeva. And therefore we must have the right discrimination to be able to make a decision of what will work at this particular moment. The case of Jatayu, very old, very weak, no strength, but still Jatayu understood, using discrimination, in this particular time, place and circumstance, my duty is not to assess Ravana's strength and my strength and then hold back. My duty is to use my full strength, whatever I have, in the service of Lord Ram. And because my main purpose is not winning the battle, my main purpose is pleasing Lord Ram. And therefore, in every situation when we are making choices, we must use the discrimination. And so when Lord Ram comes and sees Jatayu's body, and then Jatayu explains what happened, Lord Ram is overwhelmed. And when Jatayu departs, Lord Ram prepares for doing the last rites and is crying piteously and shares with Lakshman how he is affected by the loss of his own father Dasharath and now the second father Jatayu. And then he says a beautiful verse that, my dear Lakshman, people feel they are unfortunate, but I must say there is no one more unfortunate than me. Rajyat Bhramsho Vane Vaso Sita Bhrashto Hato Dvija. idrishiya mama alakshmir nirdahet api pavakam. My dear Lakshman, just see the series of disasters I have gone through. Rajyat Bhramsho, I lost my kingdom. Vane Vaso, I had to take one vas. And Sita Nashtat, Sita was kidnapped. And Hato Dvija, my best friend and loyal supporter, this Garuda like bird, which is Jatayu, he is destroyed. Series of misfortunes. Idrishiya mama alakshmir. Therefore, the alakshmi, the misfortune, is like a fire in my life, and the fire of misfortune in my life is such that nirdahet api pavakam, the fire of my misfortune can burn fire itself. Like that, Lord Ram is expressing his pleasure, deep pleasure and gratitude towards his servant who has technically been defeated, who has technically lost the battle, who has technically failed to protect Sita Devi. But the failure and success is not based on externals. The failure and success is samsiddhir haridosha. So therefore, purity, vishuddhi, humility, vinamrata, and discrimination, vivek, these are the three principles we must keep in mind while applying things as per time, place, and circumstance. The mission remains the same. The methods may change, but we must always remain respectful to our previous acharyas and think very deeply how my choice is going to please or displease Krishna and the Vaishnavas. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Any questions?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Am I audible? Say again. Oh, yeah. Little up, please.
Yeah, you can speak
Hare
because
Krishna, Prabhu.
our sound system man is hidden in the kunjas.
Okay. Doing bhajan. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
हाँ बोलिए.
My name is Narasimha Nitai Das from Vrindavan. And I am asking this question for clarification. I think Dashakala Vivagavit, I mean right place and right person I'm asking this question, spiritual person, for dissipate my confusion. Before leaving material body Srila Prabhupada, going back to Golok Vrindavan, he instructed his leaders, his disciples. This is the duty of the leaders to establish Varnashram Dharma, to bring people in Sattva Guna. And it will be possible by cultivating knowledge, bring people in Brahminical culture. So as a leader has to be situated in the Brahman platform. You said that in your class, purity and chastity. The Brahman heart should be pure and he has to follow the celibacy. So kindly could you tell me that here Dhruva Maharaj is Kshatriya, Bhishmadeva is Kshatriya. So here leader, how there is Kshatriya spirit in Vaishya spirit, like Nanda Maharaj, he is a good manager from Vaishya community. So how we can establish this Brahminical culture from this leadership platform?
So thank you very much. Very important question. One of the biggest unfulfilled desire of Srila Prabhupada is the establishment of Varnashrama. In a Kali Yuga society where people are engaged in practically 99.9% of our congregations are working outside jobs, the the best beginning of implementation of Varnashrama is through our congregational development. Because when Lord Chaitanya is speaking with Ramananda Rai, he says first principle Varnashrama Acharavat Purushena. He says Eho Bahaya. And he goes on saying Eho Bahaya for various, Jnana Shunya Bhakti and other kinds of processes. Brahmabhuta Prasannatma Sarvadharman Parityajya. And then finally he accepts the first verse he accepts is Jnane Prayasa Madapasya Namanta Eva. Jivanti San Mukharitam Bhavadiya Varta. That we want devotees in any denomination to dedicate themselves to hearing Krishna Katha. So, founder of ISKCON, 1966 to 77, spent practically every night giving us the authentic standardized Krishna Katha through his books. So 1955 to 65, one canto. 66 to 77, 9 more cantos, full Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna book, Nectar of Devotion, so many teachings of Lord Chaitanya, so many books. Bhavadiya Varta. So therefore, if to begin with, the first principle of Varnashrama is our Krishna conscious devotees in Krishna consciousness movement can spend more time with Krishna Katha than social media. So that is the first step. And once first step is taken, then we can discuss next steps. And then gradually models need to be created of engaging people as per their profession. So like we have now Bhaktivedanta Hospital where the 3 principles of Bhaktivedanta Hospital is Vaishnav Seva, Varnashrama and Vaishnav Dharma Prachar. Vaishnav Seva, so many devotees like Niranjan Maharaj 2 days back had a angioplasty done. So many hundreds and thousands of devotees and Srila Prabhupada's disciples. So like that, you are a doctor, engage that. So along with that, thousands of people become devotees also by coming. Bhaktivedanta Hospital is making more devotees, than some of our preaching programs in Chopati itself. Because people are coming, getting transformed. So the ultimate idea is heart transformation, and how that heart transformation can be enabled through association. For that association, that into various, loving exchanges. So the principle which remains constant is heart transformation is the purpose. The process is association. So in a city, the association is given through 6 loving exchanges, Dadati Pratigrahani Guhyamakyati Prachati, is through city temples. People come to the city temple to spend money. So you have gift shop, you have Govindas. No, never ever in Sanatan Dharma culture, any Vedic temple had a fine dine restaurant. Vedic temples only had Annakshetras. Fine dine restaurant introduced by Prabhupada. And gift shop. So there are, you may say, oh, this commercial activity, what is this? You're selling and buying. Main purpose is not that. Main purpose is through that they start associating. Through that association, they get transformed. So, in city, ISKCON looks like business. But we are not doing business. We are engaging people. Because they need to spend. So you see our temples are designed after darshan, they are forced to go through shops, and various places for restaurant and this and that. Here also you see Govinda, Srinathji right next to there. Then the next, in village. So we are doing rural development in more than 400-500 villages, Sanat Kumar Prabhu and his team nearby. So more than 10,000 farmers are chanting Hare Krishna in this district. Because Lord Chaitanya says, Prithvi Tyachi Jata Nagaradi Gram. So Gram was, ISKCON is not so much present in the villages. So what we do here in the city, people want to spend, but in the villages, the farmers want to earn. So we enable farmers to earn money. So the per capita income in this district is $1 per day, 27,000 rupees per annum. Very poverty stricken. So ISKCON devotees, as part of rural development, they go and tell the farmers, we will train you in organic farming in such a way that your income will grow. And many of the farmers' income is 10,000 rupees per annum, and it has grown to 200,000 rupees per annum by the intervention. So then they associate with the devotees because they feel relevance. They will help us. So therefore here, when you look at some of the activities of skill development, farmer development, women empowerment, all of you should visit our skill development center, which is 1 kilometer away. 70,000 square feet of skill development center we have made. So you may think, what is this? This is philanthropy. It looks like philanthropy, just like Govinda's and gift shop looks like business. But it is not philanthropy. It is a relevant way of providing association which can create transformation.
Thank you.
So therefore, we look like business in city, we look like government in the village, but ISKCON is ISKCON. We have our own direct agenda, heart transformation. So that is at the core. And around the shell, the whole Varnashrama needs to be organized in a way that transformation can happen. So it's time now. Thank you all very much. Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Go Premanande.